All right. So yeah, I went from corporate to being homeless. I went from working a corporate 9 to 5 job. It was with one of the biggest energy companies in Ontario at the time, and I was over here working downtown. What's up, Strong Firm? I was over here working downtown Toronto, right there at Yonge and Bloor, right, one of the tallest buildings in that intersection. And I decided to actually go ahead and leave my corporate job because um, what it was, I had my own place, had my that corporate job, but I wasn't I wasn't happy where I wasn't happy with where I was at spiritually. Spiritually, I felt boxed in. Spiritually, I felt like I wasn't aligned and I was unhappy. Even though I had those things, even though I had those things going for myself, I wasn't aligned, and so I wasn't happy, right? And so with that, I knew that something had to go, something had to give, because there was no way I was going to grow spiritually in that environment, right? So what I decided to do was I decided to quit my job, right? I decided to quit corporate and go ahead and do my own thing, right? Which I did with basketball, setting up my own business and so on and so forth. But at the same time, it came down to a point where I had to grow spiritually. It didn't matter what I did. I was out there clubbing, partying, you know, um, I was doing everything. But because I was lost inside, even though it didn't seem like it, I felt lost inside. Anything I did didn't bring me the happiness I wanted. So when I let everything go, right, and when I was talking about homeless, man, I was living out in my car for 8 months, right? Um, and then after I had my car taken away, stolen, I would say, right? Um, I was basically sleeping out of buildings. I was sleeping out of gyms for 4 months straight, right? But I tell you what, although I was living out my car, and although I was sleeping out of buildings and all that, man, spiritually, it was the freest thing ever. Like, I was the happiest ever, the happiest ever. And me doing that actually allowed me to align myself with who I truly am. And it actually gave me that freeness that I always wanted, that I always needed. And I told myself then that this is how I'm gonna keep my life. I'm gonna look to keep my life as free as this as possible, with nobody telling me what to do, with me not being structured in a box, feeling like I'm in a box or anything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and live my life like this, because this is where it's at. Freedom. This is where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Being free. Man, it was the greatest thing ever. It was the greatest thing ever. But you know what's crazy? At this time, nobody knew. Nobody knew that I was homeless. Nobody knew I was living out my car. Nobody knew I was sleeping out of gyms. Nobody knew I was sleeping out of buildings. Nobody knew. But it was the freest thing ever. And yes, it was a struggle, but at the same time, it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about life. and how there are constructs there to keep you growthless, like to keep you just in a box, right? Till you go to your grave in a box. So I was like, oh hell nah. I gotta get out of this. I gotta be free. This is where it's at. And it taught me so much about life. It taught me so much about everything. Everything about myself. And yeah, ever since then, I've just been doing everything to make sure that I'm happy. Because that's where it's at. Happiness, man. And with that being said, with that being said, stay tuned. Because I'm gonna be coming right. I'm gonna be doing another video right after this. So stay tuned. Strong firm. If you want to join me on the other video, stay tuned. I'm just gonna exit this and come right back.